And we're doing it live on a Monday, okay? And welcome into the program. It is a Monday. It is a Labor Day Monday. Hope you're enjoying your time off, and thanks for listening to the program. Sorry for the technical difficulties there. This is Talk Football with Coach K, ESPN Pensacola 1330, 99.1 FM. I am Joe Ford, and as we're looking to sync up some microphones here so we can get Coach K going here. It was a very busy weekend in the world of college football. We'll be reacting to all of that and much more. A lot of moving and shaking in the NFL as teams are finalizing their 53-man roster. Now the deadline has passed, and we are officially into Week 1. The NFL season kicks off on Thursday night. The Green Bay Packers and the Chicago Bears. Quick timeout, see if we can't figure things out on our end. You're listening to Talk Football with Coach K, ESPN Pensacola 1330, FM 99.1.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Don't drop the ball this football season. Make Tom Thumb your game day destination. We are your first round pick for snacks, chips, dips, and drinks. If you're tailgating before the game, don't get blindsided. Head to Tom Thumb for all your supplies. Score big savings with our rewards card. You'll earn 4 fuel points for every $1 spent in store. From hot dogs and buns to ice and propane, Tom Thumb has you covered to help you enjoy the game. For the ultimate game day, team up with Tom Thumb, the local store for local champions.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Sometimes your bank, your family, and your friends love you, but they don't have the money to help you. Sometimes we have chances to make money, but the old saying, you've got to have money to make money, rings true. At Pensacola Specialty Pond, we can help. If you have trucks, heavy equipment, airplanes, boats, jet skis, anything with value, Pensacola Specialty Pond can loan you that short-term money you need. No credit checks, and at Pensacola Specialty Pond, you're going to find the money and the discretion you need.
Now at 6428 Pensacola Boulevard, north of Car City. Call 432-9050, 432-9050.
Hello, everybody. You're looking live at Fansville, a college football utopia. Where the rivers flow with ice-cold Dr. Pepper. Delicious. Where every day is Saturday and everyone's a fan, even babies. Fan babies. And the seasons never change because the only season is college football season. Get a taste of Fansville this fall during a college football game near you. Dr. Pepper, the official drink of Fansville. Grab some today.
At ESPN Pensacola, 1330 FM 99.1, we are football. Catch the biggest high school football games on Fridays, every UWF game on Saturdays. Then on Sundays, get ready for big games with the NFL Tailgate Show from 10 till noon. Plus, talk football with Coach K weekdays from noon till 1, recapping the games and breaking down the upcoming matchups. It's football season, and it's on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 FM 99.1.
ESPN Pensacola 1330 FM 99.1. Got the technical glitches worked out. Thanks so much for your patience here. It's Labor Day, and sometimes the equipment takes the day off when it shouldn't. But here we are. Talk football with Coach K, Joe Ford, and Coach K here in studio as we are reacting to what was a very exciting and I think telling college football weekend, Coach. And there's a lot to get to here, so certainly won't want to waste too much time here, but I hope you did have a good weekend and got to enjoy plenty of football over the weekend as I did.
Absolutely. Great football weekend to start the season. Really couldn't have been better.
So of all the things that we saw, Coach, I guess we'll start here is what was the thing that stood out to you the most in the college football world? Whether that was Florida State, whether that was the performance of the SEC, or of any of the games that you saw, what one thing stood out to you the most?
Well, it's hard to pinpoint one thing.
Yeah,
Joe. To be honest with you, the problems that the SEC had were truly, unexpected. Not totally unexpected with Missouri, for example, but unexpected in South Carolina. But also there were some quarterbacks that had some excellent days on the first day. Gosh, I was happy for Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
The kid just, made such a great impression, I think, in Alabama with all the things that happened there and how he handled that situation. And then to go out there and have the day he had. Now, Oklahoma's a good football team, but they've got some problems defensively. They're going to have to clean that up, Joe, if they're going to be where people think they're going to be. And then of course Tua had a big day. Really happy for Nix at Auburn. Now his stats weren't what some might think he should have had, but the opening ball game against a team like Oregon, and Oregon's a good football team. Listen, let me tell you, they're not a bad football team. And Herbert is a very good quarterback. He's going to be in the running up there for that early quarterback pick. You can bet on that. But Auburn has a quarterback in Nix, I think. I love the way he throws the football. Gosh, that ball comes out clean. And he's right on the money. Got great velocity on the ball. Has places the ball well. Accuracy. And I just thought he looked very good. Now, if they don't mess him up with that system up there at Auburn, and you can see what's happening with the kid at New England now.
Yeah.
What he could have been, I think, at Auburn. But I really hope Malzahn allows Nix to. It's very obvious that he is a pocket drop back passer. Get great release of the ball. Can throw the ball down the field. I hope they utilize that strength in him. I really do.
Yeah, and looking at the Auburn-Oregon matchup here, Auburn fans, let me just say this at first here. Auburn fans should be very excited for what they do have at the quarterback position. Now, you saw plenty to work on. There was a lot. There's going to be a lot of refining to Bo Nix's game, as there would be for any freshman. But I liked the mentality that he had.
Oh,
I think that was
absolutely.
the biggest thing for me, was he was not afraid, especially in those big crucial moments towards the end of the ball game, to really just kind of grip it and rip it out there. Is that, he was not afraid to lose that game. And I commented, I was watching the game with a few friends over the weekend, and in the first half, it looked to me like I couldn't remember a specific instance where Bo Nix attempted a pass within 10 yards of the line of scrimmage. I mean, he was going downfield a lot. I think they probably looked to rein that in a bit, but for a team in Oregon, to be up 14-3, and then to have the opportunity to really kind of put the game away for their way on their end, and then Auburn to come back with that huge fumble recovery. I thought the game really changed there, because Oregon's talking about going up 3 scores to now Auburn with the chance to get it to 1, and then I think you saw Oregon kind of get tired out a little bit. We talked for the last couple of weeks at length about Auburn's defense, their defensive front, their linebackers, and their secondary. That was an elite defensive unit that we saw, and over the course of the game, Oregon's going to beat a lot of people in the Pac-12. I have no doubt about that. But over the course of 60 minutes against a caliber of a defense like that, I think we saw Oregon kind of fizzle out towards the end there. But, Bo Nix has a lot to work on. He is certainly going to get better. I mean, and I think we're probably talking about a different quarterback in Week 10 versus what we saw. I mean, as he learns the game, as he watches the tape.
Well, can I tell you something from a coaching standpoint?
Yeah.
What he did at the end of that ball game is exactly what you would hope that a young quarterback would do. Any quarterback would do, much less a young quarterback. But to have the poise and the confidence to come forward at that moment and say, give me the ball, put it on me, and let's go. And that's what he did. And, gosh, he threw the ball well, right on the money, down the field, threw it where it had to go. He needed to get out of bounds on that first throw down the field. Big chunk out of bounds. And then the back shoulder throw for the touchdown. Perfect. Now, you can't duplicate that. That's something that you really, really hope that you have a quarterback that can step up and do that.
It looked to me, Coach, and you would certainly know more than me, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it looked to me that Oregon was caught completely off guard by that play design on the game-winning touchdown pass, because as I looked at the camera angle from kind of behind Oregon and to the right, it looked like they had both corners on that right-hand side of the Oregon defense stepping up, and then the safety kind of had to come over when the receiver who caught the football for the game-winning touchdown kind of ran past the defense. Am I correct on that? That it looked to me like Oregon expected them to kind of play it safe there, and then kind of got burned there?
There's a good chance they did not expect to throw into the end zone or to the end zone, but I'd have to see the film, and I'd have to take a look at it to make a comment.
Okay.
That exactly what they did.
A couple of other SEC teams that we've talked at length about here, especially ones that could kind of contend for the SEC title. For me, there's only one outside of Alabama and Georgia, and that's LSU. We saw them against Georgia Southern, putting 55 points up on the board, including 42 in the first half. Joe Burrow, 23 of 27, 278 and 5 touchdowns. So the first test of the season for LSU, flying colors there, and they have a big game coming up on Saturday to get a really good feel for how their offense is going to.
Well, what a game that's going to be at Texas. Is out there in Austin too, but yeah, Joe Burrow, my goodness, what a game he had. And we've said all along, be careful with LSU, because really, when you look at their football team, they've got a top 5 defense, top 5 or 6 in the country. They always have offensive players that can. They got a good size offensive line, a big offensive line. I think 3 holdovers coming back from last year. And as Joe Burrows goes, they will go accordingly. Now, the other thing you got to look at, last year was his first year at LSU. Came in, had to learn a new system. They did bring in some more offensive passing help with the guy from the Saints that came over on their coaching staff. I thought they had some very, very good high percentage passes going into the ball game, and they really gave him a lot of confidence with that. He read properly, and the difference between the first year and the second year usually is large, a big difference, improvement. So I expect Joe Burrows to have just an outstanding year. And my goodness, what a race we're going to have in that West out there.
Yeah, and the heavy favorite out west, Alabama, 42-3 over Duke. Bit of a slow start. No points in the first quarter. Came up with 14 to take a 14-3 lead at half, and then came out with a 21-point third quarter. Tua Tagovailoa, 26-31, 336 and 4 touchdowns. So Jerry Jeudy got involved early and often, had 10 catches in the ball game, 137 yards. So ultimately, the depth and the talent of the Crimson Tide kind of took over in the second half there. But any key takeaways from Alabama, or just business as usual for the Tide here as they look to get started?
Well, they've shortened their passing game, that's for sure. They've gone to more of the, if you want to call it West Coast, or I think they've got other names for them. Everybody's got a name for their offense. But he's not as down the field as he's been in the past. And I think that's going to certainly help him from the standpoint of completion percentage and moving the chains, which is going to be good for him because it helps Alabama's defense as well. You know, the more they can move the football and keep other people off the field, the better that defense is going to play. So I think that all is part of the plan that Saban would like to have. Obviously, he wants a good running game, Joe, but those short passes that keep the chains moving, really some people could call an extension of the run game.
Out west, really unfortunate situation here for USC as quarterback T.J. Daniels went down. USC was able to get out with the win over Fresno State, 31-23, Coach. But we've talked about how Clay Helton, really his job is on the line this year. To lose T.J. Daniels, the unquestioned starting quarterback this year, to a knee injury throughout the rest of the year. Looks like USC now is going to be starting a true freshman moving forward. And they've got Stanford next week. They have BYU, Utah, Washington, and then Notre Dame through mid-October. And so bad to worse situation there for Clay Helton out at USC. I don't know how he survives this.
Well, I don't either. And what a shame, because the kid was set for I think, to have a good year this year, real good year. Very promising young quarterback that we all would have liked to have seen play the year out. Now, one thing you got to keep in mind out there is Eason, went back to Washington.
Right.
Had a big day. Threw some dimes, right on the money. I thought he was about as impressive as any quarterback we saw. So, there were a lot of quarterbacks that had good days. From at Georgia.
Yeah, Justin Fields.
Justin
at Ohio
Fields,
State. Yeah.
Ohio State, and but some kids looked exceptionally good at the quarterback position. But I thought Eason was one of them.
Yeah.
And it gave him a lot of confidence, and also, keep in mind, gave that football team a boost. So Washington's going to be better. I contend Washington's going to be better than we originally thought in that Pac-12.
Yeah, and we look at that. Chris Peterson, who has always had really solid teams, whether at Boise State and Washington, but he had Kellen Moore Jared Zabransky back in the early to mid 2000s, but this is really the first time that he has had a bona fide blue chip quarterback to work with. So I'm really excited to see how Washington looks this year. No doubt one of the top two contenders out in the West, and hoping to get back into the playoff conversation here. And I think they can do it, provided they run the table, because because the Pac-12 did take it on the chin this weekend. That is inarguable there. And I know a lot of people are talking about the SEC and kind of equating the SEC to every other conference, which I have personally said all along, Coach, is that every conference is going to have one, two, maybe three legitimate college football playoff contenders. The middle of the pack teams in the conference are, for the most part, going to do what the middle of the pack of the SEC did. They absolutely have a chance to get upset every single week. They'll put together decent seasons. But I think we kind of saw that manifesting itself all over the place, is that look, we almost had Iowa State go down. I said that I think Northern Iowa would play them very tough, and they almost came out with the win in Ames. But the SEC has the two legitimate contenders in Alabama and Georgia. I think LSU is right there, provided the quarterback play. But by and large, a conference's standing in terms of the national perception is always going to be determined by how those heavyweight teams fare.
I know. Let's take a look here real quick, because I think it was interesting this week. Now, the SEC, without question, got a black eye this week. For Georgia State to go up and beat Tennessee at home, that would have been unheard of. Okay, I don't care how you try to couch it one way or the other, that just can't happen. Of course, Memphis was a favor over Ole Miss, and they won the ball game at Memphis in a tight ball game, but another loser. South Carolina losing to North Carolina, totally unexpected. I didn't expect that. I thought it'd be a tough ball game, fairly close, but South Carolina would win it by 6, 7, 8 points. They lose it. Here's one we've been talking about now, and people didn't pay much attention to. Just a couple of weeks ago, people were talking about Missouri being in the upper echelon of the SEC. I said that can't be.
Yeah,
just can't be. And they lose to Montana State, Missouri. So and then you got truthfully, Mississippi State barely has a tough time with Louisiana. And Arkansas with Portland State. Difficult ball game. A difficult time with them. Now, some of that can be attributed to opening week, opening ball game, new coaches, new personnel in some cases. So we can attribute some of it to that. And that'll correct itself fairly quick if all things are even. But there's some concern there. There's some real concern.
Yeah, and as I said, the perception of a conference nationally is always going to be based not necessarily on those teams like the Arkansas, South Carolina, those, but it's going to be how the big boys fare when it comes to the postseason, fair or not. So as long as Alabama, as long as Georgia, LSU, Texas A&M, as long as those teams do what they're able to do, and yeah, there's going to be some of that beating up on each other because Alabama, Texas A&M, Georgia, LSU, all those teams are going to kind of play each other. So, we'll see if any of them is able to get out of there undefeated. But by and large, a conference, whether it's the SEC, whether it's the Big Ten, the Pac-12, the Big 12, is 1, 2, maybe 3 legitimate college football playoff contenders. Then you've got a middle of the pack that's probably looking at 7, 8, 9 wins. And then after that, it's anybody's guess.
Yeah, well, I think that's you're right. That's always the case. But you have at least 4 gorillas in the SEC.
Yeah.
I'm talking about put them against anybody in the country. You got Alabama and Georgia, and LSU and Texas A&M. You named them. But you put those people against anybody. Now we're going to see this week at Texas A&M going to Clemson.
Right.
Okay, so we're going to get a good taste.
Texas A&M probably should have beaten them last year.
Yeah, so that's going to be a taste. We got LSU going to Texas.
So this will be a big weekend. I mean,
a big weekend. Yeah,
you go 0-2 in that, and I think the chirping gets a little bit louder. Not that it means much, because of course we still have a full season and then the playoff happening. But for the SEC to have the weekend they did, and if you're an SEC fan, God forbid that LSU drops one to Texas and then Texas A&M takes it on the chin to Clemson. That's probably not a great stretch of a couple of weeks there.
Yeah, that would be brutal.
Yeah.
No question about it.
So Florida State, we'll take a timeout here in just a bit, but Florida State want to talk about this with you, Coach, and of course we do have Tomahawk Talk with Terry Gross and myself, so we'll get a chance to react on Wednesday as well. But there was a lot to like about Florida State and their performance, and there was a lot to kind of say we haven't really improved much on 2018 as well. My takeaway, Coach, just kind of 5 quick things. Number one, I thought James Blackman looked really good. I thought that the running game was very good as well, and for the most part, the pass rush was really good as well for Florida State. Now, the things that are really bad that we've kind of talked about and we wondered if things would get better, the pass defense. Gave up a true freshman was able to throw for around 400 yards on Florida State's pass defense. That's no. The other thing was the run defense. Now Boise State did have a very solid, very good, very experienced offensive line, but I thought that Florida State on the run defense gave up too many yards. I thought that. Rather than kind of limiting tailbacks to around 3, maybe 4 yards a carry, it was around 5, 6, 7, and that's just going to open up big problems for your pass defense. So for me, Coach, a mixed bag, a lot to build on, a lot to improve on, but there's still just as many questions to me whether Willie Taggart is the guy coming out of Week 1.
Let me tell you, I would agree on most of what you said, but I would say this to you. From looking at it from a coaching standpoint, you have to be totally disappointed in having that lead.
Oh, yeah.
And giving it up in the second half. Now, that's totally unacceptable. That's something you coach against day one, starting day one when you start fall practice. It is how do we, if we're winning in the second half, how do we get through the fourth quarter? And it's just unbelievable that at home, the weather the way it was, a team coming from where they came from, that they could give up that lead and lose that ball game. Now that to me would be the biggest concern.
Did you were you able to watch the full game?
I watched some of it on and off. I was trying to get to quite a few things,
yeah.
you might imagine.
Yeah, I had my 2 TVs and the iPad and the phone and everything working on Saturday. But were you able to really pinpoint anything that really changed? Because, I mean, we've seen teams quit before, and I don't think Florida State quit. I mean, I don't – maybe they got complacent or whatever. Were you able to really pinpoint something to say this is what fundamentally changed over the course of the game?
No, it had to be mental, and the other thing that I think they thought, well, we're up on these people. This is Boise State. We're Florida State.
Yeah.
We're at home. We're just going to go out and win the ball game and let's get out of here.
And maybe, I mean, it looked too easy in the first quarter.
Yeah, and then the other thing that was noticeable, and you hit on it, and it was poor tackling. I mean, they just did not come with a mean intent to get the ball carrier on the ground in the second half, and Boise State took advantage of it.
We'll go ahead and take a timeout. There was a lot going on, not just in college football, but in the NFL. We had roster decisions. We had big trades. Are the Dolphins tanking? It's a big conversation going on nationally. Coach has a reaction to that. We'll hit on that and more coming back. You're listening to Talk Football with Coach K on a Labor Day. ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
Don't drop the ball this football season. Make Tom Thumb your game day destination. We are your first round pick for snacks, chips, dips, and drinks. Are you tailgating before the game? Don't get blindsided. Head to Tom Thumb for all your supplies. Score big savings with our rewards card. You'll earn 4 fuel points for every dollar spent in store. From hot dogs and buns to ice and propane, Tom Thumb has you covered to help you enjoy the game. For the ultimate game day, team up with Tom Thumb, the local store for local champions.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck, Bentley. That was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Now's the time to travel and be with the people you care about the most. And at Holiday Inn and Holiday Inn Express, we're helping you be there for less. Save at least 25% at thousands of hotels worldwide if you book by September 24th. You won't want this moment to pass you by. So book today at holidayinn.com. Terms and conditions apply.
Don't you hate scrambling on the road when you're looking for a place to spend the night?
We all do. That's why when you travel for work, stay at La Quinta by Wyndham.
They've got everything you need to tackle the job, from free high-speed Wi-Fi to a spacious workspace right in your room.
Plus, their Bright Side breakfast comes with waffles, eggs, fruit, and meat.
Now, that's a game changer.
They've got over 900 locations so you can cover the gridiron.
And best of all, they're part of Wyndham Rewards, so those extra points really add up.
Tonight, La Quinta. Tomorrow, you triumph. Book direct at lq.com.
ESPN Pensacola 1330 FM 99.1. It's Talk Football with Coach K. Doing it early today. The Pensacola Blue Wahoos, who did clinch a playoff spot, by the way, they get started at high noon. So we'll be taking it over to the Wahoos at noon. So we're bumping up an hour here to get all the local commentary on what we saw and heard in the world of football. We have the first NFL game of the season coming up Thursday night between the Packers and Bears, kicking off the 100th anniversary season. And, Coach, our first look at Notre Dame tonight. They'll be taking on Louisville.
Yeah, and I expect Notre Dame to play well. I like that they're coming back. You know, they got their quarterback coming back, a kid they went with, young freshman last year, and they've got him coming back. We know the improvement that you can expect between year one, year two, especially at the quarterback position. So I like them, and I think Louisville is still they're still a mess. Still got a long way to go.
Switching gears and talking NFL now, as we had the roster decisions. Deadline day was on Saturday, so we got a lot of players cut and switching teams. And I think the most notable player cut was LaShawn McCoy, of course, from the Buffalo Bills. The Kansas City Chiefs quickly scooped him up and are giving him $3 million guaranteed. He will be in a backfield along with Damian Williams and Darwin Thompson. The Chiefs cut Carlos Hyde, who wound up in Houston. So it'll be the Carlos Hyde and Duke Johnson show But I think the big news of the weekend, Coach, was the Texans who were wheeling and dealing, sending Jadeveon Clowney to the Seahawks, and then also drafting Laramie Tunsil, trading for Laramie Tunsil from the Miami Dolphins. So first, the Clowney trade. I know that there was a lot being written, a lot being said about how the Texans seem to kind of mismanage, if not completely botch, both transactions, just because a general manager is not in place to really kind of guide the team and say, okay, this is what we need to do if we're trying to get this work. Bill O'Brien, by all appearances, is running the show. Doesn't necessarily have the acumen of the front office to kind of look big picture. He's really concerned about the here and now. But the Texans trading Jadeveon Clowney kind of appeared like he got to kind of pick his next location, and then also the Texans agreeing to pay half of a salary or signing bonus this year. So your reaction first, Coach, to the Texans dealing away Jadeveon Clowney, how it maybe helps or hurts them and the Seahawks.
I don't like anything the Texans did. Not anything. Their trades, certainly with Miami. I mean, it's just a hodgepodge here. Now, I don't take in. Let me back up here a minute because I don't want this to cast any bad light on O'Brien as the general manager. I don't know how much he's calling the shots, but if I were the head coach there, I'd be calling every shot. Period. The general manager means there are 32 teams. It means 32 different things out there. If you ask each team to give a description of a general manager, you get 32 descriptions. All right? I think it's the most overrated position on any football team. Belichick, you think he does a bad job? Yeah, he is the general manager. He's the head coach. He's everything. You think Lombardi. You think Chuck Noll. All those guys, you go back, they were the head coach and the general manager. All the great football teams that were Bill Walsh that were put together, the head football coach was also the general manager. So I want to say that, preface by saying that. Now, I don't like any deals that the Texans did. I think Jadeveon Clowney, there were some problems, Joe, going back to when he was in college. If you remember, Steve Spurrier made some comment about Jadeveon Clowney.
Right.
Basically saying that he didn't give it everything he had every down, and he had to go back and step that back to protect their integrity with recruiting. I don't think Jadeveon Clowney is exactly the type guy that a coach like O'Brien would want on your football team because he's got so much more talent. He doesn't use everything he's got. Now, I was under the impression, I really was, that they would find some way to work out a contract with Clowney that would also entice him to give a little bit more on the field. And there are ways to do that with incentives and so on. They obviously didn't do it. I think that was maybe mistake number one. Mistake number two, they let him go for too little. You're talking about a possible impact football player. If they get him to play in Seattle the way he's capable of playing, they're going to rue the day they let him go out there. Now, and these other trades, we can talk about them in a minute. But.
Right. One question that I have is the Texans, I don't want to say they misused him, but I always felt like Jadeveon's best skill was his pass rushing. I mean, that's what he was able to do so well in college, and I mean, he is he is one of the better pass rushers, especially for his position. And I felt like they had kind of a golden ticket or a golden goose, if you will, of having an all-pro on one side and J.J. Watt, and then putting Jadeveon Clowney on the other side and just letting them go to town on opposing quarterbacks. For some reason, and you can speak to this more, I never liked the idea of him moving around so much around the front seven. They stuck him at inside linebacker. They stuck him at outside linebacker. Yeah, he played rush end, but I felt like Jadeveon was kind of misused during his time with the Texans. Am I wrong on that?
There are other people that felt the same way. I've heard even, some people in football, coaches, ex-coaches, say that they felt that he was being just put him at one position and turn him loose and let him go. And that, so it has some merit. I agree with you. It has some merit. Now, they did get, even at South Carolina, they did get benefit in two different positions, Joe. The outside backer, which really became like a rush end in a 4-3, and also they'd move him inside over the guard in the guard and center gap and let him play a defensive tackle position, which he was extremely capable of creating a total problem with the offensive football team in that position. So, he had the ability to do both. But I think if he played both in the NFL, that's more than needed. He didn't need to be dropping from a linebacker position, which sometimes he did. I agree with you there. I think they overused him.
The other move that the Texans made, Coach, was trading for left tackle Laramie Tunsil, one of, if not the best, young left tackles in professional football. So just from the perspective of getting the player, I think the Texans are better. They needed protection. They have Deshaun Watson still on a rookie contract. I think he's in for a big year. He's been hit a lot. However, the thing that the Texans didn't do that the Chicago Bears did when they traded for Khalil Mack was agreeing to an extension with the player as part of the deal, because they have Laramie Tunsil in, great as far as just the construction of the roster for this year, but they left themselves no negotiating power when it comes time for his contract. Now, maybe they're okay with that. Maybe they're just happy to say, hey, whatever Laramie Tunsil asks for, we're going to give him because this is what we traded. But I think, again, that was maybe a misstep in terms of, I agree. Going out, you're trying to get a franchise left tackle. I'm all for that. But looking at the current contract situation, the Chicago Bears were smart. They traded away a lot of picks for Khalil Mack, but they agreed to the extension as along with the trade to the Oakland Raiders. The Texans didn't do that here.
Yeah, and the other thing, the big thing the Texans did, look at what they have given up, my friend.
Yeah.
They have mortgaged, to some extent, they've mortgaged the future of that football team. Now, that is going to hurt them over a number of years. And I will tell you, some people won't realize this, but it's going to hurt them over 5 to 6 years. You can't give up the number one draft choice on 2 consecutive years and a number 2 and expect to be able to compete in the National Football League. You just cannot do it unless you're getting the exact same in the way of talent. And I don't know that Tunsil Tunsil's a good left tackle, but is he worth that? And I certainly don't think the other choice is worth it. So I don't know. I just can't understand.
Yeah, the third-round pick that they got for Seattle, they would have gotten anyway as far as a compensatory selection if Jadeveon Clowney had just walked away free. Absolutely merit to that. The other side of the Laramie Tunsil trade equation is the Miami Dolphins. In addition to trading away Tunsil, they traded away Kenny Stills and along with linebacker Kiko Alonso, future draft picks. So, Coach, I know this is something you're very passionate about. A lot of people are throwing the T word out there. Are the Dolphins tanking to set themselves up for better draft picks? I mean, they have a full cupboard of draft picks to look forward to in the next couple of seasons. So whether it's tanking, whether it's building for the future, whatever adjective you want to place on it, the Dolphins' plan is what moving forward?
Well, I'll tell you, it really burns me up. In fact, burns is a word that is literal here. He said, I think it was him on the radio this morning. I hear giving this dissertation on their tanking. Miami Dolphins are tanking. There's no such animal. No such animal. There are 53 players out there on the field, each one with a vested interest in winning. Every coach on that staff has a vested interest. Family, children, homes. There's nobody out there that is going to use the literal word tank. They're just not going to do it. Now, what they could be doing is overplaying their hand for the future. Somebody in the administrative end of the business down there has decided they're going to build for the future. Doesn't mean that they want to lose. Ideal scenario here would be to win every football game and still build for the future. Okay? It usually doesn't happen that way. So you don't want the worst, which is lose every football game to build for the future. So most likely it's going to be somewhere in between, realistically. But I detest anybody, especially somebody in the media, inferring that people are going to use traitorous type behavior in order to get. They would have to have somebody they want to get. Who do they want to get? They want to get Herbert. They want to get Tua. They want to get Fromm. Who do they want to get? You don't do that. It's just not. It's not even in the playbook. So to use that word is very insulting to me.
The likelihood, Coach, is that if the Dolphins' plan is to not lose every game, but to put themselves in a position to be best suited to get the best available players in the draft in the future, the likelihood that the coaches on this staff, maybe even the front office who was executing this plan, aren't going to be there when the overhaul does come. I mean, you look at the Cleveland Browns, their transition. They went from Sashi Brown, who went and accumulated all of these picks. The Browns went through a 1-15 season. They went through an 0-16 season. They were able to accumulate all these draft picks, right? All this draft capital that was being accumulated. Now, Sashi Brown was the one who did all that, but the one who ended up using the draft picks was John Dorsey, right? So I agree with you that, this is a job, this is their livelihood on the line here for both the players and the coaches. The front office executives, there's no guarantee, number one, that they will be there to oversee the overhaul. Number two, there's no guarantee that the players that they pick with those draft picks will turn out, right? I saw a quote over the weekend that it's easy to accumulate the draft picks. It's much harder to get those picks right. So either way, they're kind of putting themselves out there.
That is true. That is exactly true. Another factor is that there is absolutely no guarantee that you're going to get those draft picks right. And let me take another stab at this. I think for the benefit of those out there listening, they would probably understand this. I can assure you that I don't know of any player that I've ever been associated with as a player in the National Football League and a coach in the National Football League that would have anything to do with assisting a loss as a player. In fact, I'll go a step further. If they didn't have a tremendous competitive drive, I don't think there's any way they could make the National Football League. There's no way they could be on that roster. So you can understand why I'm upset about them using the word tank, especially this guy Burns. And somebody else on the national show this morning. But that's repulsive. That is absolutely repulsive. And they don't know what they're talking about. They've never been in that situation. But they can just loosely throw that out is I don't think is right.
We'll take a quick timeout, come back. We'll preview and make our pick for tonight's featured game, Louisville taking on the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, and more news and notes from around college and professional football. That's coming back on Talk Football with Coach K, ESPN Pensacola 1330, 99.1 FM.
I'm attorney Stephen Luongo with Levin, Papantonio, Thomas, Mitchell, Rafferty, and Proctor in Pensacola, Florida. Distracted driving is a dangerous epidemic on America's roadways. In 2016 alone, over 3,000 people were killed in motor vehicle crashes involving distracted drivers. This according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. For more information, please visit us today online at levinlaw.com. Please be safe on the roadways. Stop the text, stop the wrecks.
When you're looking for a great deal on a reliable new or certified pre-owned vehicle, you can't beat Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola. Bob Tyler Toyota has the best selection in town at incredible low prices. You can check out their amazing inventory from Camrys to Tundra trucks to 4Runners. It's all at Bob Tyler Toyota, and you can find it online at bobtylertoyota.com. Also score a touchdown this football season with the car of your dreams. Again, it's only at Bob Tyler Toyota in Car City, Pensacola.
There's only one place in town for the lowest prices and greatest selection of firearms. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Visit our fully stocked Gun Pro Shop for new and used firearms, accessories, and ammunition. Check out the Indoor Shooting Range. We offer rentals on guns, including fully automatic machine guns and silencers. Ladies, this is the safe place to learn how to use a gun. Plus, Tuesday is Ladies' Day. Women shoot for half price all day. The best place to buy firearms in Pensacola. Pensacola Indoor Shooting Range. Highway 29 in Car City.
Now's the time to travel and be with the people you care about the most. And at Holiday Inn and Holiday Inn Express, we're helping you be there for less. Save at least 25% at thousands of hotels worldwide if you book by September 24th. You won't want this moment to pass you by. So book today at holidayinn.com. Terms and conditions apply.
Yeah, so much rhythm. Babysitting your kids while they play the jazziest jazz I've ever heard jazzed is totally fine. But what's actually frustrating is the check you're handing me and the days it will take to clear. Next time, just send me money with Zelle.
Night out better. Pay your sitter easily with Zelle. Look for Zelle in your banking app.
Must have a bank account in the U.S. to use Zelle. Zelle is an early warning services trademark.
If you have frequent heartburn, take control of it with Prilosec OTC instead of stashing antacids everywhere, like in your junk drawer, buried under old batteries and hotel pens, or in your purse, hiding in the one pocket you won't check. You even have antacids on your nightstand, which are very hard to see in the dark. It's time you stopped stashing antacids and started taking Prilosec OTC. 1 pill a day, 24 hours, zero heartburn.
It's possible with Prilosec OTC. Use as directed for 14 days, not for immediate relief.
This is Davis Allen, co-host of Sports Call with Davis and Justin. Catch Justin, Patrick, and me every Saturday from 11 to 1. College football is finally back, so join us this Saturday from 11 to 1 on ESPN Pensacola 1330 FM 99.1.
ESPN Pensacola 1330 FM 99.1 is all about high school football. Catch the biggest local games every Friday night on Pensacola's home for local sports and our sister station, News Radio 92.3 AM 1620. Happy Labor Day. Hope you're enjoying the day off, or if you're working, thanks for making us part of your day here. ESPN Pensacola 1330, 99.1 on the FM. Biggest AM signal, I believe, from New Orleans over to Panama City. And it's all sports all the time here, bringing you local high school football coverage. We've got the Argos of UWF. I think their first game is on Thursday. College football and NFL on ESPN Radio all throughout the season. And very exciting there. We'll be out at Scambia High School taking on Pine Forest this Friday night. Believe the Pensacola Blue Wahoos have a game going on at the same time on Friday, but we'll wait for the programming note on that. But we are your home for the Wahoos as they are in the postseason. They will start at high noon here, so in about 6 minutes from now, we will turn it over to them. Coach, one more football game to wrap up week number 1 of college football. Notre Dame and Louisville, ACC matchup there. And Notre Dame should win, Coach. I'm not going to pick Louisville. This is not the Louisville of a couple years ago with Lamar Jackson.
No, it's not. It's really not. And I think should be interesting to see what Notre Dame looks like anyway as a football team.
Yeah, and you're picking Notre Dame to win that one, as am I. But yeah, Ian Book, year 2 of the Notre Dame signal caller there, Brian Kelly, who is trying to get back to the playoff conversation. I believe they have Michigan coming up next week, so a big tune-up game. Although conference opponents certainly can't overlook Louisville, despite the fact that they are not nearly as talented as they have been in a couple weeks. Coach, you had something you wanted to say?
Yeah. Well, there's just a couple of things here. In the state of Florida, we got between the University of Florida, Florida State, Miami, and University of South Florida. We better look to UCF and UWF for a college football team to get to have success this year. But anyway, no, they'll revamp. Hopefully, come on strong. I do want to say that I'm happy that Calvert's, the restaurant pub out on East Cervantes, I think it's 312 East Cervantes, out there, just beyond Bayou Boulevard, east of Bayou Boulevard on Cervantes, on the left. They're coming on, and gosh, if you're thinking about a place you might want to go for lunch, go try them out. We're talking about English fare with a fish and chips, and shepherd's pie, and I understand one of the best burgers in town. It's just an outstanding place and a good place to stop by and have some refreshments in the afternoon. They have a cocktail hour and of course, dinner plans. So we're glad to have them coming on, and hopefully you will stop by and see them.
Absolutely, Coach. And some other quick news and notes here from around the world of the NFL that you may have missed. Derrick Henry, who had been in and out of preseason camp due to a calf injury, he says he's feeling good ahead of Week 1. Amari Cooper also back to practice with a foot injury. The Indianapolis Colts have their backup quarterback. They signed a 3-year deal with Brian Hoyer. Hoyer cut by the Patriots. 3-year, $12 million deal with the Colts to solidify the quarterback position here, at least in the near future. It sounded like, Coach, there was some moving and shaking on the part of Ezekiel Elliott and the Dallas Cowboys working on a contract extension. Sounded like anyway that progress had been made. So we will see, as Elliott still holding out. Contract extension has not been agreed to. When would you say that a contract would need to be signed in order to have any hope of Ezekiel Elliott maybe making the field on Sunday night, or is that time already passed?
Oh, they could hurry it up and get it done as long as he's got a full day of practice on Wednesday would be the crucial day. Okay. Usually offensive game plan is inserted on Wednesday. Quite frankly, it would be advantageous for both to get it done before this first ball game. If they don't, I really would like to see Dallas hold out on him, force him to hold out the whole year.
And as far as Elliott working back into game shape, is that maybe a day or two, or is this maybe a couple weeks before he's ready to take on a full workload?
I would really feel like it's a couple of weeks before you take on the full load, but he certainly would be able to handle probably 70-75% of it the first week, and maybe 80-85% the second week, and would be close to full speed.
And the other running back holding out doesn't look as promising for Melvin Gordon, as Chargers general manager Tom Telesco over the weekend let it be known to reporters on a conference call that they have, as a team, tabled contract talks with Melvin Gordon. They will not pick it up until the end of the year. So really the ball is in Gordon's court now. Does he want to play on the last year of his rookie contract? Does he want to sit out So the Chargers, look, we've said it all along. The Chargers really have had no reason really to give Gordon what they wanted because of the success they had last year without him.
Well, just keep in mind that contract holds. So when he comes back, if they force him to sit out, he's still got to play his last year on rookie contract.
That'll do it for us here on a Labor Day Monday. Talk football with Coach K, ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. We'll see you tomorrow. Blue Wahoos baseball is up next.
It's almost fall, and that means football. And ESPN Pensacola 1330 is all about football. We've got UWF Argos football every Saturday, high school football every Friday night. If you'd like to partner with ESPN Pensacola as a sponsor or promotional partner, give us a call at 262-6000.
ESPN Pensacola, 1330 FM 99.1, WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
From coast to coast.